Hey guys, it's Bree, and today I'm doing a quick reading update and video update, like what videos will be coming out this month, and then a craft update. Lots of yarn happening. So the first section I'm going to talk about videos coming this month. I was going to do a whole filming day this weekend, but I ended up having crazy errands and hurting my back. So that'll be next week, and I'll film a bunch of videos, but for this week we have today's reading update, which will probably go up on Tuesday. And then this Thursday's spoiler-free review is going to be Cycle of the Werewolf, which is a short story by Stephen King. It set off spooky season with a werewolf story, obviously. And then every Thursday for probably the next 2 months, I have spoiler-free book reviews going up. Next week's is going to be The Ruins by Scott Smith. It's a kind of cheesy, I'll say, horror novel taking place in Mexico. A bunch of American, German, and Greek tourists wander into a horrible story. So that'll be next week. And then I also have a birthday month book haul because this past month was my birthday, so I actually got some books instead of my normal book buying ban. And then I have a on my shelf horror, some horror books that I have and recommend, as well as a follow-up to my Russian book haul because somebody requested a expanded version with more books. Alright, so those are the videos coming this month. Should have at least one a week through November, and sometimes 2 with the other videos that I'll add on, including reading updates. But now what I'm reading currently is probably too much. I checked out the Dracula audiobook from Libby because I originally read Dracula probably 15 years ago and didn't like it very much, so I figured I'd give the audiobook a try after I read Dracula earlier this year and absolutely loved it. And so I'm about a quarter of the way through that when I listen to it when I'm driving and things like that. And then my other library book that I checked out is Soulless by somebody, Gail Carriger. And that is a Victorian England paranormal mystery, I guess. Soulless refers to our main character, Alexia Terabati, I think. She is classified as soulless in a world where supernaturals exist. It means she was born without a soul. Doesn't mean she's evil or anything. She just basically, vampires and things like that don't have an effect on her. So the very opening scene of the book, vampire touches her, his fangs go away. He's very confused because he's starving, but that's how we kind of get off to who she is. And then on my Kindle, another Libby book, I am reading The Phantom Prince, which is by Elizabeth Kendall, and it is the story of Ted Bundy's girlfriend, which if you've seen the Netflix movie with Zac Efron, you'll know what I'm talking about. She is the young woman that he lived with, sort of, and helped raise her daughter in Seattle for, I believe they were together 5 or 6 years. And it's her story of going through talking about him, which is kind of interesting because she does fully admit in the forward to the book that she was still in love with him when she wrote it, so you can kind of tell there's a lot of worry going on, as well as still some soft feelings for somebody that she cared very deeply for many years. So it's actually really interesting. I'm a third of the way through. Hopefully you finish it by the time it's due in the next 3 days. Hopefully. And then while I was stuck sitting very, very properly and still because my back hurt, I picked up again Lethal White by Robert Galbraith, which is the 4th book in the Cormoran Strike series. Very popular. I think it's been made into a TV show as well. This book follows our main detective, Cormoran Strike. He's been hired by a prominent politician to investigate potential blackmail. The first third of the book are very, very slow. I did not enjoy them at all, which is why I stopped reading it about a year ago. And it's supposed to be a political thriller, heavy on the politics, light on the thriller. But now I'm about halfway through, powered through, and there's now been a murder, and it's much more interesting. So I'm super excited, and I believe the 5th book, Promised Blood or something like that, came out this past month. So figure catch up on the series because I do genuinely really like the characters, and the mysteries are usually on the more unpredictable side of things. So that's what I'm reading. Those are the videos that are coming up soon, and then of course crafts. So last time I believe I was starting knitting a sweater with my Pound of Love dark red yarn, which as you can see is not in as good of condition as it once was. But I had to start over quite a few times. I'm in the process of knitting it. So I started on circular knitting needles and it kept getting twisted, which of course you don't realize until you've gone around a few times. So I kept having to start over, and I just decided to switch over to straight needles and knit in the flat, which means I'll be doing a front panel, back panel, and sleeves. So working on that. Not going super fast, but it is fun and it's very squishy, soft. I'm just doing the knit stitch on both sides, so it's kind of a squiggly, squishy finish on it. And then my other knitting project is right here. So I'm working on my second one. You can see the Knit One Purl One ribbing that I have going, but I am making yoga socks. And they look like this when they're done, hole for your heel, feet going, it's like this. And they're very comfortable. The only thing I will say is I did kind of a tight bind off on the top, so they sit right where they're going to and they don't budge. But they're very comfy. I'm using Heartland yarn by Brand. It's very, very soft. I really like the colors. They're almost heathered. I got this green, and then I have an orange that I'm going to make another pair of socks out of. So I really actually like this yarn quite a bit. I'll have to look up the color though, and I'll put that down in the description box. But to prove that I crochet much, much faster than I knit, I finished another sweater crochet. So I made a little hoodie. You can see the pockets kind of bulging. It's got a big hood that comes up on it. I did this with a pattern that I will link down below. The only thing I will say is I followed the measurements, and according to the size chart I was a size small, which is normally the size I wear. I was a little bit apprehensive, and I don't know if you can tell, but it did end up being very short. I ended up having to add extra rows, and I changed the hems to a different kind of ribbing because I could just tell it wasn't going to be quite long enough, and I wanted it to be a bit longer. And this is made with Brand Homespun yarn, which initially I didn't like when I was feeling the scheme in the store, and it just felt kind of weird. But once I worked it up, it goes much faster, and it is kind of hard if you're a beginner because you can't see your stitches really clearly, and counting becomes a really big deal, especially with this particular pattern. And I'll link that one down below. It's called the Butterbeer pullover, I believe. And it is very, very soft. I tried it on, it fits, and it does stretch over time. That was kind of a big deal, as I was afraid I was making a child-size sweater at one point, which if I had followed exactly and not added a few lengths, the sleeves would have been 3/4 sleeves, and the waistband would have hit right at my waist, so it would have been almost a crop top. But if you kind of tweak it, I probably didn't get my gauge quite right when I was making it, which is fine. And it was easy enough to fix, but it used 5 skeins of, I believe I used the color Satin, which if you actually have the yarn, it has like kind of a goldish tone to it with purple lavender color throughout. I liked it. It kind of reminded me of the Butterbeer concept, but I will link that one down below also. It's overall a really good, easy, beginner-friendly thing to make. Is that coming undone? I might need to retie that. But whatever, it's comfy. And yeah, so I am working on that, and then I have another crochet sweater that I'm going to be making out of that Heartland yarn. It's a charcoal gray almost color. I'm excited for that one, but it is an intermediate pattern, so I'm a little nervous because there's the part with the neckline that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, but that is the crafting update, the video updates. You'll have one on Thursday, probably one on Tuesday next week, and Thursday again. And I'm moving forward pretty regularly on Thursdays. So happy reading, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.